All right, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing another Walking Dead video leading up to the 4th episode for The Walking Dead Season 10. In this one, we're going to give our thoughts on the new theory about Dante being the actual Whisper spy. Alright, and possible spoiler warning if you guys are not cut up for the Walking Dead television series, which is up to the 3rd episode for the Walking Dead Season 10. But the 4th episode has been on premiere, so just a heads up. I haven't seen the 4th episode yet. I don't think that anything to do with this will really be in the 4th episode, but maybe it is. You never know. It didn't look like it from the preview pictures, but premiere throws everything off. Anyone who hasn's probably already seen the 4th episode by now. But I had so many questions from the Q&As for this week. I wanted to do at least this one video so we can include at least some of them. There's nothing you can do about it. Just premiere makes it weird. Everyone's at a different point in terms of their viewership for the series up until Sunday night when we're all kind of synced up to the regular time. But this one is a good one, and I'll put the link in the description for you guys so you can check it out from comicbook.com. They've got the article on it. It looks like they figured out from the trailer, and I guess this one is kind of in between possible spoilers if it's right. If it's wrong, then of course no spoilers. But the guy who Daryl was beating up in the trailer for The Walking Dead Season 10, and you only get to see it for like one frame, but you can kind of see like kind of the blackish type hair and possibly a doctor's coat, or at least that's what comicbook.com has to say. So it looks like with the whole Siddiq possibly being a traitor idea, it looks like we were close, but it probably isn't Siddiq. It probably is the guy across from Siddiq. And actually it makes a lot of sense because Wiz Kid here had a great comment. He says, Trev, do you think Dante could actually be a whisperer? Because when Siddiq was staring at Dante's mouth, the camera zoomed in on it. So do you guys remember this from the premiere episode when Siddiq first meets Dante and he's talking to him and he says F.A. and that kind of stuff. And then he zones in on Dante's mouth, and then Dante counters it in kind of a smart way, which is to bring in like a homophobic type of defense mechanism, right? He says, kiss me already, shit, with his accent, right? It's weird, but, if you think about the scene, Wiz Kid's got a great idea here, which is it possible that Dante was one of the whisperers that was with Alpha when Siddiq and the others were captured and the beheadings took place in this whole thing? Because if he was there, he may have possibly seen Dante's mouth, and that could be why he's sort of focused in the premiere. Because it is a weird scene if you think about it, and if you look at it by itself, it doesn't seem to really make a whole lot of sense. Like he's staring at his mouth, this kind of thing. I mean, I guess you could say, well, maybe he's freaked out because, he's just zoning because of whispers and stuff like this. But is it possible that Dante was actually there? And, of course, we didn't get to see that very much. We just got to see glimpses of what was going on. They didn't show us the whole scene through of Alpha beheading people and stuff like this. But is it possible that Dante was one of the ones that was there and Siddiq saw him, and then when Siddiq saw his mouth moving and speaking at Alexandria, somehow it triggered this memory of what was going on before? Very possible. I like the theory idea, and I do think it's really good because I think, going on the ideas of the Whispers having some kind of spy, it brings in the question, how did Alpha know about the exact times when they had crossed the border and during the wintertime when it's pretty clear the Whispers were not there. Now, some people say, well, she must have left people behind to keep an eye on them. And, maybe to some degree it's somewhat true. But when you watch the finale episode for The Walking Dead Season 9, it's pretty clear to me when I watch it through that there was no Whispers who saw them going across. At least from our perspective as viewers, we didn't see any Whispers seeing them cross the border. So that means that someone in the Joint Survivors must have given that information to Alpha and the Whispers. Someone must be a traitor or someone must be spying on them. Also, Dante's kind of new, right? So he just kind of comes in. He sort of comes in out of nowhere. We don't know him either. He's a doctor, which at first I thought, well, if he's a doctor, why would you send in a spy who's a doctor? But then again, on second thought, one of your safest people in every community is going to be the doctor, and no one's going to suspect the doctor. So if you send in a doctor or a doctor's assistant or whatever, one of these types of people, the community is not going to send him out on the front lines killing walkers at the gates and doing stuff like this. he's going to be helping the wounded. He's going to be in the back. He's going to be chilling inside of a sheltered building, well protected. You're not going to want to don't want to let anything happen to your doctors. So to send in a spy doctor, is that something Alpha would do? It is something Alpha would do. It makes a lot of sense, and he'd be the one who'd be the most protected of anybody. So even though at first it's like, would you do that? It's kind of like after when you really think about it, it's like, yeah, maybe you would, because no one's ever going to suspect him, and he certainly will be out of harm's way 100%. The last person you want to die in your community is your doctor. It's maybe that and your community's leader. Those are like the most important people that are there. So I really like the idea. I really like the theory, and that would also make it so that Siddiq wouldn't be so bad. Also, when Dante is introduced in the premiere episode, if he's a good guy, it's kind of a weird introduction, isn't it? Because he's talking about, he comes across as that annoying, a guy who's always trying to be funny, and he's referring to them as gods and this kind of thing, and he's not funny in the premiere episode. And I thought that was kind of a mistake, because I thought that they would want to make Dante funny, because in the comics he was often funny. But if you guys look at the Hilltop, there is Alden still, and he did kind of sort of there was the theory that maybe he would kind of get into a relationship with Maggie, later on. Of course, Enid is gone now and has been gone for a while here, and eventually Maggie will be returning. So possibly instead of having a relationship occur between Dante and Maggie, maybe in the TV series they'll remix it and they'll actually still do it with Alden and Maggie, and instead Dante will end up being a swerve or a twist in that he's actually going to be a villain, and he's going to be, the TV series version is going to be a Whisper spy, and then Daryl will beat the snot out of him, they'll capture him, something like this, and that could be kind of cool. So I'm looking forward to see if that's the case, and it would redeem Siddiq a lot, and it would make a lot of sense out of Dante's introduction scene, which just comes across in a weird way, and everybody basically agreed that he just came across as like this just weird guy. Well, we'll see, man. Let me know what you guys think about this possible theory. I do think there's a spy somewhere in amongst their ranks. Somewhere there's a spy in the survivors' communities somewhere. I don't think that it's... I know people are saying, well, there could have been Whispers who could have seen, we're always watching, this kind of thing. Well, I think they have someone watching, but I think they have someone watching from the inside. That's something Alpha would do. Alpha seems to be extremely cunning in the Walking Dead television series, even more cunning than she was in the comics, which she's the best female villain Walking Dead's ever had. There's no doubt about it already, I think. So good stuff. Leave your comments below. Let me know what you guys think about that one. Mark Johnson says, Q&A, Trev, what are your thoughts on if Carol would have killed Alpha at the border? So what would have happened? So if Carol shoots Alpha at the border in episode 3, then what happens? Do the rest of the Whispers flat out kill everybody? One of them had an AK-47, this kind of thing. But you did have Daryl, you had Michonne, you had some of the best survivors there. So I think maybe it wouldn't have been a bad thing. Like if you're at war, this is the way I thought about it, with Michonne stopping her and everything. I almost thought, let her shoot her. You know what I mean? If she's got her point blank, let her shoot her. I mean, the rest, you might lose 2 people there, 1 or 2 people, but you just took out the leader of the Whispers. That said, then you have Beta, who's going to march down your gates with their Omega weapon, their nuke, their 30,000 walkers or whatever it is. So this would be my strategy: is you let Carol kill her, and then you run away from the rest, or you try to kill the rest, or whoever wins the battle wins, and you get away if you can. I think with the Whispers, the way to beat them is you have to fight fire with fire. I think you have to wear the skin. I think Daryl had the right strategy in season 9 when he wore the mask, and then he left it behind. And I think that to defeat the Whispers, you have to become the Whispers. You have to wear the mask too, because it's a technology game. Once they have that weaponry, once they have that technology, if you have guns, they have to have guns, right? Or if they have guns, you got to get guns if you're going to beat them. So when the Whispers have this huge leg up on every other community in that they can steer and use the dead against other people, they're very well protected. So I think that with all those walker corpses they just killed in all the waves that are coming through, right? You have to fight fire with fire, and I think that if you want to beat the Whispers, you have to be the Whispers, right? When in Rome. So so like in the comics, but even if the comics didn't exist, it's like that's what you have to do if you want to defeat them, you have to match their technology. If you're running around with swords and axes and stuff and the enemy has assault rifles and guns, it's not going to go well. So you have to have guns too. Same thing applies for their camouflage and their strategy, I think. So Philip Hartman says, Trev, they completely filmed out of order this season. That's why spoilers for the season have been so silent. Everything is out of order to help Danai's availability, so she could be out by episode 13 for all we know. We've never seen them do this before. Well, that's great, for Phil. No offense, Phil, but I'm not a huge spoiler guy anymore. I know that there's an excitement to try to find out okay, this this is happening and that's happening. It's different when you deduce it down and you're doing predictions and things like this. I like that type of speculation. The type of spoilers I'm talking about is someone dumpster dove and found a script on paper and now they're posting it online, that kind of shit. That kind of shit is crazy. You know what I mean? Guys, go to work or something. Go if you got a job already, go get a second job. And to anyone who's watching this right now, dudes, please don't dumpster dive and try to find scripts and stuff this. This is crazy, man. I mean, I just think that's it's taking it too far. So if they had to film it out of order and that's what they did to keep the spoilers at bay, then that's great. That's fine. There's nothing wrong, I think, with doing predictions and trying to figure things out based on interviews or based on, situations. I mean, if something does get leaked, well, it gets leaked. It's not there's no skill in that. Or there's no thought process in that. If something gets out there, if it gets leaked, it gets leaked. But I like predictions. I don't necessarily care for leaks too much. If they happen, they're going to happen. If once something gets out, it's going to be out everywhere. We're all going to hear about it. But it does probably detract from the show a bit when people, kind of have head information. But if you look at the Rick situation last year, they did that marvelously. They said it was Rick's last episode, but you didn't know if he was getting killed off or if he was leaving. And it literally was not up until the final scene when we weren't sure if Rick just died or if the helicopter was going to happen. They messed with us and they did the whole, Rick saved and then he's not and then the blackout and then this. And it was right up until the very last minute that you didn't know for sure. And I like that. I thought that was really exciting. And anytime they can do that where people don't know for sure, it's you're doing a prediction or you think this is going to happen and there's helicopters in the banner for the season. So you're thinking that, okay, he's going to leave in a helicopter. That's what's going to happen. But they keep you guessing right up until the last minute. That's exciting, right? And if it's ruined too early, then, if it's just leaked out, that's different. The Dante situation here. Maybe it's wrong. Maybe he's not a spy, right? But if he is, it's in the trailer, it's in this stuff, and you can kind of deduce it down from that. So that's fine. But it's different if for Michonne's leaving, it's got to be pretty soon. A lot of people are thinking second half of the season. I was thinking mid-season finale, but maybe you guys are right. Maybe I'm wrong with that. We'll see. But it's kind of fun to try to predict what's going to happen when you don't know, right? We really don't know when she's going to leave. So it's kind of fun for that. At least I find it fun anyway. jrmrocks says, why is Eugene not making bullets? It seems like Eugene would be doing more of their infrastructure. So Angela Kang did respond to that one. I think she said that in the TV series version they decided not to do the bullets thing. It's probably because it makes it more exciting when they have to fight with very few guns. Maybe they have one or two guns each, but they have almost no ammunition, and they're mostly using hand-to-hand weapons and things like that. It's more scary, to be honest with you. But in terms of logically, would he be? If I was there, I'd have him making bullets all these years. Have him producing bullets. You'd have stockpiles of ammunition at this point. You'd have enough ammunition to take down those Walker waves that were coming in just with gunfire alone, and then some, because he would have been producing the entire time. But the thing about it is they were saying that, well, if you shoot off guns, it draws in more of the dead. So, that's why they decided not to go that route. They decided not to have Eugene pump the bullets and produce bullets and everything like that. But me personally, I'd be like Negan. I'd be like, get on the, even though that backfired like crazy, but get on that, production line, man. Get those happening. But then again, people did point out that it's this many years in, so you don't have electricity anymore. Your generators probably are not going to work. You could probably figure out ways to do this, but oil, everything is running out. Everything is wearing down. So maybe it's not possible at this point, this far ahead in the TV series version, for them to do it, and that's fine. It is kind of more exciting when they don't have a whole bunch of guns. If you look at how All Out War turned out in season 8, people hated that, and they had lots of guns, and it was not. People didn't like it. So from a storytelling perspective, maybe it makes sense that they don't have much in the way of bullets, and it's more exciting that way. So fine, let's go with that and just say that in this version, unlike the comics, they were not able to produce bullets. There you go. At least not so far anyway. They haven't been able to, or they thought it wasn't useful to, because it does, when you fire off, it does draw in more of the dead that are in range. It's true. It's very true. And that just helps the Whisperers. It's true, too. So it's what it is. Haitham says, enjoy your videos. I guess that's the important thing. I like your idea that it's just an extra hobby thing. And very good. And I want to thank all you guys for the support in the recent video I did, letting you guys know how the channel was doing, the future of the channel, wanting to go on forward, and addressing the fact that, Walking Dead is not as popular as it once was. And so thank you guys for all your support in the video. I thought it was really great. I was actually surprised by the amount of support there was from you guys, so I appreciate that, and thank you guys so much for that. And I think that's a smart way to do it, right? Is that you don't try to make it something that it isn't. It's a part-time extra thing. It's probably not an independent way to make a living by itself, for me anyway. There might be some people that are satisfied with that, or they can do that, and that's fine. And maybe they can get by doing that, and that's cool if they can. But I appreciate all your guys' support, and that you're understanding that. It's not, for me personally, it's not something I would ever probably do full time, at least, not unless I was to retire first or something like that. Or got to the point where I was so close to where it just didn't matter, and I didn't need a job and I could just do that. But the reality is most people do need their jobs, and we all start, like you're in your early 20s. I remember, man, I used to sleep on the floor, dude. Like I had anyways, long story, but when I was in school and stuff and was living in our first apartment, we had like an air mattress, and the damn thing kept deflating. I'll tell you why. Damn air mattress kept popping and deflating. You just sleep on the floor, man. You didn't have a bed, so you just sleep on the floor. So I ain't gonna be taking risks like that again. I ain't sleeping on the floor again. I'll tell you that much. Royal Off says, Q&A, how do you think Magna's death would impact the show and the characters themselves? She hasn't had much story or screen time lately, but I think it would still be a very unwanted death for a lot of viewers. And do you think they will ever start giving us more of her story, or do you think she's going to stay a kind of background character? So no, I don't think so. So especially once Michonne is gone, especially Magna will get even more time, I think. I think there's no doubt about it. She's going to get even more time. They have to bring in new blood every so often, fresh characters and that. And while I think that, Magna's group, except for Connie, hasn't maybe really grown on the audiences that much as of yet, because we were so distracted with Rick leaving and Whispers coming in, and we've had all this other stuff going on, that Magna and her group coming in has just been part of all the different story that's happening. I think we'll see more of it, later on, and we'll get to see some more of that. And you're going to need to do that. Like, it's not like they really have any choice. As you're losing, Michonne and your Rick, and thankfully Maggie's coming back, but as you're losing a lot of these other more prominent characters, you have to build new ones. So would they kill off Magna right now? I don't think so. I really doubt it. But, like I said, the one that they've built up the most, from my perspective anyway, is Connie so far, which is very surprising. I did not expect to see that. But I find her enjoyable. I find her, probably my favorite out of Magna's group, which is surprising. But, we get the sense that Yumiko and Magna are kind of, badass female warrior type characters, so that's fun. So, to see them kind of do their thing. And then, you got the slingshots with Connie and Kelly, so I don't know. It's cool. It works either way. She's pretty badass with a slingshot. I'll give her that. Okay, it's cool. Both of them are. Logan Magoo says, Q&A, is there for sure a snitch? I just think Siddiq being a snitch would be dumb, and if there is one, I'd rather it be more surprising. Well, if it's Dante, that would be pretty surprising, and it's not for sure a snitch, but it kind of looks like there probably is, most likely, I think. And the last one will be from Ash Williams, who said, Trev, what are your thoughts on Ryan Hurst said the episode where he meets Negan and the Whispers being one of the funniest episodes of the show? So I guess we'll do one more because that one I sort of already gave my thoughts on. Well, I'm really excited to see Negan meet Alpha and Negan meet Beta. That's going to be really fun. I can't wait to see both of those. Dominic Ambrosio with our last one says, hey, Trev, do you think when the trilogy of movies with Rick comes out that the Walking Dead TV series will end before the third one comes out, because you might have the likes of Carol, Daryl, RJ, and Judith, plus other crossover into the movie, which brings the whole Walking Dead series of movies in full circle, so to speak. So do we think that, the Walking Dead TV series will end before the third movie comes out? Well, I think maybe we'll do a video on this. I don't buy that they're going to do 3 movies. I think that Gimple just said that, and that he probably wants to do 3 movies. I don't know if Andrew Lincoln wants to do 3 movies. Okay, I don't know if he signed on to that or agreed to that. Now, money talks, but he's doing Penguin Bloom and stuff like this. And it's his career. He has the right to do whatever he wants to do. Whatever movies he wants to do, whatever shows he wants to do is no problem. But, do I think that they'll for sure make at least 3 movies of Walking Dead? Let's try for 1 first, and then we can talk about 3, okay? So I don't think he's signed on yet a contract to do 3 movies. I don't think they've agreed on any terms yet for 3 movies. I think that Gimble just said that because he doesn't want people to abandon ship, and so he wanted to give us hope and everything, so he said that. Remember, Kirkman said 300 issues of the comics, and they didn't even get to 200. So let's get the first movie done first, then we can talk about a trilogy. But do I think that the movies will, be coming out longer than the TV series? I don't think so. I think that the original Walking Dead TV series is like gold to AMC. They're going to want to keep that sucker rolling and going as long as they can. And even if they have to pay Maggie or they have to do this or they have to do that, they're going to want to keep that original Walking Dead series going as long as possible, I think, at least. Because that's their biggest... They have never had something like that. It's a phenomenon type of series. The other series have done well, too. Fear's done well. I'm sure the movies are going to do amazing, and they're going to be a phenomenon in and of themselves. But I think that AMC's bread and butter is the main Walking Dead series, and they are not going to want to let that go no matter what. Even if they were losing money on it, they still probably would not want to let it go because it brings viewers to the network, it adds credibility, it builds it out. Sort of like when you go to Walmart or something and you got end caps and they're selling you stuff at cost or at minus. Sometimes they sell you stuff where they lose money to sell it to you. They put it there to get you into the store so then you'll buy other shit when you're there. The Walking Dead TV series is one of those situations. Even if it was losing money, they still would want to keep it going because it brings people into the store and it brings people around, and that's the whole idea. They're not going to let that thing go no matter what. Anyway, unless it's like blatantly obvious that it's got to end. If you guys like today's video, please thumb it up below. You can share, you can favorite, and you can subscribe at the bottom left. That's it for this one. I'll see you guys again soon for another video. As always, this is Trev saying peace later, guys. See you soon.